Today we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. It's a short one, 20 verses. Hopefully we can finish it earlier. This chapter talks about devotion. What is devotion? What is bhakti? Normally it is referred to as faith, trust, or love for God. The trust and faith in family members we call it as affection. The trust and faith that we have within our circles is friends. It's called fondness or friendship. And the same trust and faith with reverence is in God is devotion. It's not just trust. Trust and faith it's beyond that. It's little more with reverence. What I mean is when you place an order in Amazon, you have the trust that they will ship it, they will deliver it, right? That is a trust. You're trusting somebody, your employees, your co-workers, your supervisors, everything. But reverence is something beyond that. It's a mixture of all this together. Complete surrender. When you see in my YouTube on what is surrender, it will explain that. It is in detail. Complete trust, as Mr. Rabindranath was talking about. Just leave it to God. Everything will be taken care of. That kind of surrender, that is what bhakti or devotion towards God is. Affection is the first step towards love. Affection is when you adore something or someone. Affection is a gentle fondness. Devotion blooms like a flower. Affection, love, and then devotion. You plant it, you nurture it to bloom a strong feeling of loyalty. Devotion is intensity with fulfillment of love. We can't see love, but it's only we can only see its expressions, actions and behavior, words and sacrifices. Then how do we express devotion to God? By prayer, by meditation or worship, pilgrimage, going to church or temples. With this one should not conclude that those who do not do this, they do not have devotion. We cannot say that also. So devotion is an attitude expressed as performance by thought, word, and deed. An expression of love towards God is worship. Some may say love is in the mind, but anything that is in the mind always expresses in one form or the other. If you are angry in your mind, words will come out like that. If you are peaceful, the words also will come out in a kind fashion. So the general understanding is expression of love for God is devotion. But Gita and Vedanta gives a different connotation. Generally, we think of chanting or reading scriptures, praying, meditating, worshipping. All these things are devotion. That is why it is elaborated here in this chapter. What is devotion? There are several spiritual disciplines, like we have a restriction of food habits, like fasting. Every religion has fasting. Discipline in thoughts, which is oftentimes referred to as silence. Pilgrimage, traveling to different locations. Then meditation, being truthful, non-violence, ahimsa. And all these together called tapas in Sanskrit. And similarly, the self-knowledge mentions devotion as a common noun. Thus, bhakti is a common noun. And everything is devotion and all are devotees. Is going to elaborate further. In chapter 7, we have read that there are 4 different types of devotees. Those who suffer a lot, experience hardship, reaches out to me. They are called artaha. Then those who aspire for worldly pleasures, power, wealth, power, position, name, fame, those are called artharthi. Then those who want to know me, reach out to me. Who is that I, or who is God? They are called Jignasu. The 4th one is Jnani, who has understood, who has realized who I am. That is fourth one. So first step in spirituality is Krishna talks about karma yoga. We have seen this in chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where Vedanta starts. Doing one's own duty as an offering to God and accepting the results of as a gift from God. That is arpana buddhi and prasada buddhi. It's a bhavana attitude. So every seeker should do karma yoga, resulting in the purification of mind and becoming eligible with 4 prerequisites for self-knowledge. That is sadhana chatushtaya sampatti in Sanskrit, the ability to discern the real from unreal, or the real from appearance. In fact, that is called vivekam. In fact, the world is not unreal. Even though when we translate it in English, we call it unreal, but it is not unreal. It is appearance. So real, unreal. Unreal means never exists. Real, unreal, and in between is appearance. So world is an appearance. The ability to discern the real from appearance. Then dispassion is vairagya. What I don't need it. I'm not going to focus on it. Then Shat Sampatti, that are 6 different things that we have also gone through it in Karma Yoga. Control of mind, control of senses. And the third one is Uparatiki, which is automatic withering of things. The endurance, patience, deep conviction, and single-pointed focus. Mumukshutvam is burning desire to know the scriptures. When we perform our duty and live a righteous life, at some point we will have that enough mental strength to step back from our responsibilities. When our children are grown or our duties are done, or else the thought that I need to be there always, without me nothing will work, I need to be there to make decisions. With that constant thought, I is the ego. Live and let live. And that reminds me of Khalil Gibran, the Lebanese American philosopher, who says, children are not born to you, they are born through you to the community, to be productive citizens of the society. So don't own them. You don't possess them. So be like a lotus leaf in the pond. This is the result of the karma yoga, benefit of karma yoga. Be a part of this world, the family, and yet apart from it. Or else humans are caught in this whirlpool of samsara, with full of responsibilities continuously. Constant running around with mental agitations, anxiety, and apprehension till their last breath. Such a mind cannot focus. So that is the first one, do your duty, karma yoga. Second discipline is upasana. We have seen that also in Gita chapter 9, Dhyana Yoga. Upasana is before the self-knowledge, and nididhyasana is once you acquire the self-knowledge. So when a seeker has lived a righteous life performing karma yoga, is able to sit quietly in a place without any mental turmoil and able to concentrate on the self. This is not possible with an agitated mind, because you will get all the to-do lists. You will get what happened yesterday, what is going to happen tomorrow. All this thought flow will be continuously coming. So unless we have that peaceful mind, we cannot focus. So we have seen that again in Dhyana Yoga. We first train our body to sit quietly for 15-20 minutes. Then we train our mind so the mind is not scattered and is able to focus. The mind is calm, unagitated, focused on the activity without any distractions, disturbances, a single-pointed focus. And we use that in our day-to-day life, whether it is at work or at home, we have to have some focus. See, for example, I'm in the kitchen doing some cooking, and suddenly my daughter comes and says something. No, don't tell me now. Right now, I'm not able to focus. Let me finish this, and then I will listen to you. So I'm focused on this aspect. Same thing with spirituality also. So watch thoughts and eliminate the unwanted thoughts. Now, third discipline is Jnana Yoga, where it is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. That is active listening without distraction, contemplation, and then stay grounded on that. Listen again and again repeatedly. Think about it, contemplate on it, find out what the scriptures say and what I experience in life, how do they match? If they don't match, ask questions, get clarified. Get convinced and stay grounded in that knowledge. It's not like I tell you, you obey. It is a DIY program. We have to do it ourselves. Every individual has to do it ourselves. So then you get convinced yourself. So there should not be any doubt on the steps. First one is Karma Yoga, then Upasana, then Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is not possible without the Supreme. It is a Dvaita Bhavana. It is a second. That is the basis. That is where we start. We can only go from Dvaita to Advaita. There is no fast track. So each individual is in different steps. Krishna says this Karma Yoga discipline is by itself, that is also called Bhakti. Even if you don't sit and pray, even if you don't go to temple, but as long as you do your duty, that is Karma Yoga. That is also Bhakti. In Upasana, next one, meditation. The seeker is meditating on the name and form of a particular deity. Ishta Devata is also my devotee. Whatever they perform is also devotion. Once the mind is purified with a single pointed focus, the seeker comes to the next step, that is Jnana Yoga, self-inquiry, logical analysis. For years, humans have been praying, worshipping, performing rituals, but how many know who that God is? Many challenge others by asking this question, but they do not enter this path. Only this inquiry, self-inquiry, leads to studying scriptures and Gita. Krishna says the inquiry is also devotion. That is also Bhakti. When you clarify doubts, that is also Bhakti. When you read scriptures, meditate, listen, that they are all devotion. They are all Bhakti. And they are all Bhaktas, devotees. Karma Yoga is devotion. The one who performs Karma Yoga is a devotee. Upasana is a devotion. One who performs Upasana is also a devotee. Same thing with Jnana Yoga is a devotion. One who performs, listens, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam is also a devotee. Just like tapas, all inclusive, all rituals covers together called tapas. That is karma kanda. So bhakti is everything, anything and everything, all inclusive. So bhakti is an expression of all types of discipline. Now this bhakti he is dividing into two to start with, Nirguna Bhakti and Saguna Bhakti. Nirguna Bhakti is a seeker who knows, understands Atman, has performed and climbed the three steps, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Nirguna is beyond attributes. Nirguna means there are no gunas, no sattva, rajas, tamas, gunas. Nirguna Brahman and Atman are one and the same. Therefore, self-knowledge is important. Who am I? I am the seer, I am the observer, I am the witness of everything else that is happening in the world, appearing world, and in this body. So that is Nirguna Bhakti. Now, one who is convinced in this self-knowledge is now focused on Nididhyasana. He is staying constantly in the thought of Atman without name and form. This is Nirguna Bhakti, but it's very, very challenging because human beings cannot conceptualize Nirguna without any form and name. So those who are not in this stage are unable to focus on, visualize the Brahman without a name and a form, perform Saguna Bhakti, meaning worship the deity with name and a form. That is Ishvara with Maya, has a name, form, and gunas, illusionary power. So therefore there are two types of bhaktas or devotees. Those who are devotee to perform Nirguna Bhakti, those who do Saguna Bhakti. Now the second bhaktas, Saguna Bhakta devotees, they are divided, that he is classifying into 4 different categories. Remember all those 4 devotees, just no comparison. We are not comparing, there is no superior, inferior thing, but each one is in a different step, that's all. So that makes it 5 steps. So chapter 12, there are 2 topics. Verse 1 to 12 is Nirguna Bhakti and Saguna Bhakti. 13 to 20 is Nirguna Bhakti, the essence or personality of that Nirguna Bhaktan. para bhaktan lakshana. So it starts from chapter 12, starts with Arjuna's question. Is Nirguna Bhakti supreme better or Saguna Bhakti better? Because some worship you as a name and form, as a universe. So with what we have heard so far from Krishna, he mentioned that all are my devotees. So this question itself is irrelevant. Had Arjuna asked which path is better for me, that would have been much more sense. This question is like whether a high school is better or a college education is better. It is a step-by-step progression in the spiritual ladder. There is no shortcut, there is no fast track. Again, it's a self-paced, take one step at a time. No comparison and cannot be standardized. Those who want to take fast track, like they leave the family and go away, leaving the responsibility, escaping to self-inquiry, would end up in a counterproductive end. That term Krishna refers as mithyachara. Neither here nor there. Neither they are doing their duties nor they are getting into self-inquiry. Because when they go there, that's exactly where Arjuna was. Had he left the war and gone to meditation, he would be sitting there and thinking about Bhishma and Drona. He would not be able to meditate. So the person is not ready yet. So that such person is referred to as mithyachara in Sanskrit, in Gita. Neither here nor there, in limbo, uncertain, undecided, resulting in no progress. So had Krishna responded that Nirguna Bhakti is supreme, there will be many mithyacharya. Nobody will be doing the duties, right? Everybody will be trying to do Nirguna Bhakti. But if he had replied Saguna Bhakti is the seeker, is better, then all seekers will stay there, stagnant. They will not even go into self-inquiry. They will be static. So Krishna responds this way. Those who worship Saguna Brahman is superior. So what happens to those who do Nirguna Bhakti? They reach me, he says. Saguna Bhakti are the first step to reach me. Nirguna Bhakti seekers are at the edge to attain me. Say, for example, we travel in a bus or a train, and few people know the stop is coming, I'm going to get down, and they automatically go and stand next to the door. The moment the bus stops, they immediately get off. That's exactly where Nirguna Bhaktan is at the tip to attain or reach divine. The others, eventually everybody goes. Eventually everybody reaches that destination. And they have performed the Saguna Bhakti, and then they have come to the Nirguna Bhakti, the ones who are ready to jump out. So verse 2, he says, Nirguna Bhakti is superior but not easy. It is very challenging. It's very difficult to visualize God without any name and form for human beings. So those who are able to focus on Nirguna Bhakti, or me entirely, reach me directly, and those who worship that without a second, that which is not manifested, that which is all pervasive, that which is beyond senses, achintyam, cannot be thought of, that which does not modify, reach me, he says, verse 3 to 5. If a seeker wants to go from Saguna Bhakti to Nirguna Bhakti, that is beyond name and form, he should have done logical inquiry before. There are few prerequisites specified in Vedanta. Vedanta inquiry is not difficult, but the pre-qualification is. It is a very difficult unless you put in constant, consistent, regular effort and self-reflect. Vedanta is not a hobby, not once in a while I'll listen and as and when possible attitude. It has to be consistent effort. One needs to have an equanimous mindset, accept both good and bad beyond plurality, going beyond plurality. See both as act of God. We have seen this in chapter 11. They are all events, good and bad are in our mind. They are just events, occurrences. Control of senses, 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of actions. Only such seekers can be unbiased, objective, without taking sides, and have a holistic vision. This is not indifference, but being able to see the divinity in all beings and serve them all. Focus on good points in others. Do not focus on their weaknesses. This is also now in leadership, it's called servant leadership, bottom up than top down approach. Absolutely no difference in mental attitude, whether one is a Christian, Hindu, Muslim, rich, poor, educated, illiterate, Brahmin, Shudra, nothing, no, absolutely no differences at all. All differences are in the mind. You cannot prove any difference by anything. I can prove the blood, whether blood is positive, A positive or A negative or B positive, but you cannot prove whether this person is a Muslim or that person is a Christian. You cannot, there is nothing, that's all in our mind. This attitude and acts needs to be continuous in all circumstances with all people. Like example they give in Upanishad is Tailadharai, means like an oil flow without any scattering. That constant, consistent thought should be there at all times. It is very difficult, but we'll come to that. The gist of verse 3 and 4 is you start worshipping with name and form, and then move on to Nirguna Brahman without attributes. Nirguna Brahman is very, very difficult. Nirguna Bhakti is very, very difficult because jivas, individuals, have a strong attachment to the physical body and the world. The fact that you are not this body, you are the seer of this body, has not sunk in yet. For those who are caught up and drawn to sense objects, it's not easy to conceptualize the mindless, attributeless one Nirguna Brahman. Krishna says it is difficult, it is challenging, and lots of effort is required. It is a lot easier to perform Saguna Bhakti. So, inquiry, he gives that an example for Nirguna Bhakti. Think about a sapling. It grows, has buds, then flowers, and raw, unripened turns into a fruit. At that point, the fruit separates itself from the plant. No need to pluck. We touch it, it will fall. Similarly, a realized one is not attached to anything that is seen. He knows that seer alone is, and that is him. Everything withers, and he realizes himself as the seer, as the witness, as an observer. A 3-year-old child may ask for a tricycle. A 7 years old is not going to ask for a tricycle. That withers automatically. He goes for a bicycle. By the time he's 18, he's asked for a motorcycle. So things change, automatically withers. We have to keep practicing until automatically withers. That's why many don't come to this path of Vedanta, spiritual inquiry. Vedantic path requires an undivided attention to grasp this knowledge with critical, analytical, logical thinking, requiring much more individual efforts than mass thinking. It's easy to just follow directions, but to think, analyze it, look into the pros and cons, make a decision is very challenging. So verse 3 to 5, he emphasizes on Nirguna Bhakti. Spirituality is a self-paced program. Everyone has to reflect, self-assess, and see where one is in one's own path. One can go up and down based on the mental maturity at any time. So but we are all work in progress. These are for our self-assessment, not to judge anyone. You are this, you are that. No, it is only where am I? How can I move forward? Krishna says to get any knowledge, we need tools, right? We need eyes to see something, ears to listen to something, tongue to taste something. We need some tools. But to understand Brahman, the needed tool is Vedantic scriptures. This must first be listened to. That is why it is called Shruti. Shruti means that which is heard. If you buy the Gita book and start reading, you will not understand anything or any Upanishad. First is the listening, Shravanam. That needs to be listened, grasped, comprehended, clarified doubts, and then get convinced, and finally stay grounded in that one conviction. Such an individual can definitely perform Nirguna Bhakti. If you are able to do this constantly, regularly, consistently, then you can follow Nirguna Bhakti. That is what actually we are doing right now. you are focused on studying Gita. And Atma Bodha is the gist of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita is also gist of Upanishads. So Mahabharata is actually the gist of all the Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. And Mahabharata is referred as Panchamo Vedaha, all the gist of everything. So Bhagavad Gita is also, we can refer to as Panchamo Vedaha. So this is the highest discipline of human existence. Only human beings can get into this path. No other beings can come to this. Now, what is God? That is who is God? That is the inquiry. What is the relationship between God and the world and God and me? Once this inquiry starts, one is in a Nirguna Bhakti seeker, Nirguna Bhaktan. We are all in the state now. This is also a bhakti. This is also a devotion. Krishna says this is the supreme devotion in the spiritual ladder. If an individual jiva is unable to grasp the concept, the fact that one alone is, then he suggests he comes down to the next step. That is called Vishwarupa Bhakti, cosmic vision devotion. When one is unable to agree, see, accept that the universe is an appearance, I am the seer. Because I see many people, I see family members, Krishna says, look at the entire universe as a cosmic body. This is also from Upanishads. This is an imagination to see the entire universe as a divine body. As though the sun and moon are the eyes, the air is the breath sheath, and everything is in my body for those who cannot negate the world. Ananya Bhakti. For such an individual who is fully immersed in me, in my thought, without a second desire, sees me in everything. I will protect him from this cycle of birth and death. Any and all forms that you encounter with, try to see the divinity in all, negating the name and form and behavior. Only when you see the second, other than you, there is an anger, fear, hatred, guilt. But there's only one. One appears as many. I help those individuals who see me in all to be able to control, manage their senses and mind, lead them to self-inquiry, and toward they move on towards Nirguna Bhakti, finally attain moksha, liberation from this world of sufferings. Verse 8, he says, when we visit a temple, church, or mosque, we innately feel that we are at the altar of God, right? With a sense of trust, with a surrendering attitude, which dissipates once we step out of this temple. As long as we are inside the temple, we feel that. Both our home and the temple, they both are made up of the same raw material, bricks. It is because of our mind we see the temple different from a home. This is my home, this is my fence, and God is beyond that gate. We have separated Brahman from the universe. But the cosmic vision devotee, Vishwarupa Bhaktan, wherever he walks or visits, he thinks of me. Whatever he speaks, he thinks of me. Whatever he says, he sees in me in all. When we go for a walk, we don't think we are doing pradakshina. Whereas when we go in the temple, we do the same walking, we think it is pradakshina. I remember when I was a little kid, 6, 7 years old, my father's mother, grandma, used to tell me when we used to sleep on the mat on the floor in Chennai those days. The moment we wake up in the morning, you touch the floor and pray. Sorry, I'm walking on you. That is, the earth itself is God. You should be able to see. That is the pradakshina that has to come. Every time you step, you are walking. That whatever you see, touch, feel, everything is nothing but Brahman. So they were trying to inculcate that early on. Such a seeker is always with me, he says. If this seems difficult, Nirguna Bhakti is far challenging. This is just Vishwarupa Bhakti, second one. So when the second one is also hard, then he goes to the third one. So the highest form of devotion is one alone is existence, consciousness, bliss, without name and form, with attributeless, The second type of bhakti is Abheda Bhakti, does not see any differences, sees everything as one. And that we have seen that also in chapter 4. Now, when a seeker says, this is not possible for me, I tend to like some people, dislike some people, emotions take over. Sometimes my BP goes up the moment I think of that person. I raise my voice. I cannot see God in everything, in everyone. I have past memories and experiences. I can think of God only in the temple or during my prayer. I have many responsibilities and the thought of God disappears. Krishna comes down to the third step. The third step of devotion is called Ishta Devata Bhakti. That is, as a child, we have been taught by parents and family members to have a particular certain deity. Take that form and see me in that. In Sanatana Dharma, there are several deities. It is not a polytheistic religion. It is not a religion for a first point. Second, it is not a polytheistic religion. It is a monotheistic. There is only one God. One appears as many. Everyone is called deities. There are not many gods. So, and that you can see this God as each family has a particular deity. We call it in Tamil Kula Deva. Each has a particular deity. So you remember that, see that deity and think of me. We can see God in any form, as a friend, as a mother, as a father, as a child, in any form. We have seen that Mirabai loved Krishna as a lover. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa loved as Kali as mother. And in Tamil poet, Bharati talked about Thirada Vilayattu Pillai, meaning a child. He saw Krishna as a child. So you can see in whatever way, whatever mental status you are, you express your love. Because Brahman is attributeless. Brahman has no form and name. And human mind cannot conceptualize the all-pervasive beyond senses. So idol worship is for the individual minds. The way we want to see God. So that is what it is, that to cater to them. It's not that, but our philosophy is Sanatana Dharma, everlasting principles of life. And the God is attributeless, no form, no shape. Nirguna Brahman. Therefore, if you cannot see unity in diversity, then take one more thing, one form, name and form. Whatever words you utter, wherever you go, you should get that feeling, that emotion that represents divinity. Whether you are chanting a sloka or going to a temple, that feeling should come. That is important. The sense of self of surrendering, trusting, and reverence, the sense of gratitude is important. That is bhakti. Devotion bhakti is an attitude, not an action. Name and form doesn't matter if they help you to be devotional. But there should never be my God is better than your God. There is no comparison. For there is only one. That you can call it with any names. That if that thought comes, that is ignorance. Immature superstition, not evolved into spiritual path. Shankara elaborates this in Maya Panchakam. How the Maya makes it. You can refer to that. I have a YouTube on that too, Maya Panchakam. Listen to that. Those who have not grasped that one alone is behave that way. Those who have not entered into those people have not entered into spiritual path yet. They are still in the rituals. Verse 9, even though the divine is one, without name and form, for my mental attitude, I am in this stage, I want a name, I want a form. I cannot visualize Nirguna Brahma. So one can go, even though we can go back and forth. So the first one is Nirguna Bhakti without name and form, indescribable, undefinable, attributeless. Second one is Vishwarupa Bhakti, cosmic vision Bhakti, seeing oneness, one in all. The third one is Ishta Devata Bhakti with a particular name and form. For this third stage, One has to sit in a quiet location, think, contemplate, pray, worship, meditate on God on a regular basis. That many of us do the puja. To be in this, again, Nirguna Bhakti, one needs to get into self-inquiry, logical analysis of existence, consciousness. If the mind is not ready to this inquiry mode, unable to focus, listen, and comprehend Vedantic scriptures, many say this is a very dry subject, I am not able to understand, I feel sleepy. For them, the second one is to be divine vision, right? If this vision is challenging and not possible, the Ishta Devata Bhakti with a particular name and form. And that is referred as Abhyasa Yoga. In chapter 6, we have seen that as a concentration meditation. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Guru of Swami Vivekananda, used to worship one deity called Kali in Calcutta. His guru, Totapuri, came and taught him that there is non-dual, there is only one. And then he recognized that Kali is also the Nirguna Brahman. Whatever Ishta Devata you worship, there is only one. One appears as many. Now, when a devotee says, I do not have time to sit and practice, to sit in one place and meditate on God. I do not have sattva guna or calm, composed mindset. And I prefer to be active and doing things. Always in Rajoguna, type A personality. I want to be all the time active, achieve, accomplish, attain. Because human beings have become human doings now of late. So for such a person, verse 10, Krishna says, he takes us to the next step down, which is Karma Yoga Lakshana Bhakti, Karma Yoga Bhakti. Do your duties, perform your responsibilities as Karma Yoga, as an offering, and accept the results as gifts. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Do your duty and do not expect. We have seen this in chapter 2, verse 47. Karmanya Vadikarasta. You have the right to perform, but you do not have the right to expect a particular result. I will provide whatever you need, I will provide it to you. Don't do it for the results, he says. Goal setting is different. Goal setting in transactional life, we set goals and we accomplish it. But we may not get exactly what the goal we have set. We may get a different goal, different outcome. I study hard for my exams. I expect 95%, but I may get 80%. You don't know. So the result is not in your hands, but you do your duty, he says. When you do everything as an offering to me, I will reduce your Rajoguna and move you to Sattva Guna. From there, you can move to concentration meditation, which is with Ishta Devata Bhakti. From there, you can move to Vishwarupa Bhakti and then finally to Nirguna Bhakti. You don't need to spare any time for me. Just think of me, whatever you do. Offer all your actions to me. Now the devotee says, even this is not possible for me. I have several desires. I want to travel. I want to meet people. I'm interested in the worldly accomplishments and I want to enjoy life. Krishna says, do whatever you want. Enjoy. Earn wealth. Nowhere in any scripture says you are restrained from anything. You attain power, position, but earn them all in a righteous way, dharmic way. Do not take unrighteous path at any time. If you can recall again the four people, that four different devotees in chapter 7.16, he says, those who seek relief from the sufferings, those who are distressed, they come to me. Oh God, help me out. I am in this particular health situation. Or those who aspire to get the worldly possessions. I want wealth, I want promotions, I want increment, I want name and fame. Those are the second one. Those who want to know me, they are seekers of knowledge. Third one. The fourth one is those who know me, they have their situation, they are grounded in that knowledge. There is nothing wrong when we ask for anything, all this, but whenever possible, think of me and have a sense of gratitude, thankfulness in everything. You could have been far worse. The situation could be far worse. You are in a much better place. So always count your blessings, they say. That reminds me of a quote I think it is from Helen Keller. I wept when I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. So never feel sorry for yourself. Do not play the victim game, victim card. There are many who face greater challenges than us. There is a popular story in Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's, one of his devotees was Girish Chandra Ghosh. You can Google it and find out. He used to consume alcohol and was coming to the monastery in Calcutta to learn Advaita. As a teacher, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa wanted to raise his devotee. If Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had told him, stop drinking, what will happen? He will just stop coming to the monastery because the habit is hard to break. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, you have the habit of drinking for several years. You continue to drink it, but every time you drink it, think of me, offer it to me, and then drink it. And he did this for a couple of months, and then automatically he stopped drinking. I remember when I was in India 40 years ago, there was a student, I was tutoring high school kids. And this kid used to come to me. His mom used to say, he's not studying, he's always watching TV. She used to curse him. You will only work in a hotel as a server and you're not going to study, you're not going to come up. I said, don't say that to a kid. Send him to me, let me see. And then he came to me, I asked him, he said, what is your interest? What do you want to do? He said, I want to watch Star Trek. It is 30 minutes show on a TV. Then I said, okay, you can watch in my home and then you have to do your homework with me. Is that okay? He said, well, yes, fine. So once he watch that, then he was studying with me. And then by 10th grade, he got scored 100% in mathematics, 98% in physics, and 98% in chemistry. Why? Because we cannot change anybody. We have to go with the flow. They will say, leave the rope, let it go. That's the symbolism of a rope on a cow. How far can the cow go? It will go and have some grass and then come back. So similarly, we have to let loose a little bit. So that's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did that with Girish Chandra Ghosh. So we cannot force anyone for anything to doing anything. There are several such stories. This shows that everyone can evolve. Everyone can evolve. Similarly, he says, whatever you want to enjoy, go for it. No restriction. But while doing so, offer it to me. As you do this, you will progress, and I assure you, he says. There are 5 descriptions of devotees in chapter 12. These are not set in stone or classified. Every individual can move from one to the other, back and forth. Right now, we are all in self-inquiry, Nirguna Bhakti inquiry. That's what we are doing. These are all just to self-assess ourselves. Only in spirituality you can see where I am, where I want to go, how can I improve, what are my weaknesses, constantly, because the mind constantly fluctuates. Be aware of where you are. That leads us to a summary again of the 5 types of devotion. Nirguna Bhakti is learning, listening, contemplating, clarifying doubts by asking questions, knowing, understanding the concept of undescribable, indefinable. One without a second Nirguna Brahman. For this, one needs a pure, clear mind, unbiased mind, ability to reject the appearance and assert the appearance, real. Get involved in Vedantic inquiry. When these are not possible, seeing everything as one supreme, we have likes and dislikes. Here also in likes and dislikes needs to be eliminated. This was described in chapter 10 and chapter 11, Vibhuti Yoga and Vishwarupa Darshana. I am in all and all in me. Then the third one is the Ishta Devata Bhakti, devotion on any one particular form and name. When that is not possible, Karma Yoga Bhakti, do your duty as an offering to Lord without expectation. 5th one is, you can enjoy life, but must be in the righteous way with an attitude of gratitude. When I lost my husband 25 years ago, I could have been just on welfare, homeless. But I had the basic education. I had basic good health. I could work. I could earn. I could do my duty. So it is always important to see, we have things. We have things. Count our blessings. Always that gratitude takes you to altitude. Always. So verse 13 to 20, Krishna now declares the personality, the nature of the person who is Nirguna Bhakta. Why is he Why is he mentioning this? So he says others, so that others can emulate these qualities. The emphasis in chapter 12 is any success is mainly only with individual effort. Even though the grace of God is equally required, individual effort is also very important. Self-reflection, where am I? That is the measuring scale. I'm studying, I'm listening, how far have I progressed? This is mainly to assess ourselves, not to judge anybody. And he gives Adveshta Sarvabhutaha, that is, the Nirguna Bhaktan is devotee, has no likes and dislikes towards any being, no hatred, no dislikes towards anything. He is always kind and compassionate to all beings, without the ego, I and mine. To be honest, everyone is co-travelers. We own nothing. We can't take anything with us, not a penny. Even if I have $1 billion in the bank balance, nothing. We are all co-travelers. And my mother used to tell me when I was young, everyone has a pot full of water, right? Either you can share it with others. It's like a well. The more you draw the water from the well, the more water comes in the well. Similarly, you can share it. The more you share, your pot is getting filled. Or you can just keep it with you and your pot will be full, but it will be full of moth and marsh. It is not useful to you. It is not useful to anybody. So always think about it. Whatever you have, anything that you have, try to share it. So that should be the attitude. There is no I, there is no mine. Everything, all the pain, pleasure, success, failure, insult, appreciation are all should be viewed equanimously. Nirguna devotee is extremely patient, endurance. He is always happy, calm, composed, without any agitation. He is modest, self-restrained, humble, unassuming, not egoistic or pompous. Such an individual is very close to me, says Krishna. He emphasizes on 20 values here. Once we focus on this, nothing else is needed. The first one is equanimous mindset. We should sit quietly and reflect on our own mindset. There should not be even a single person that we like or dislike. Absolutely no excuse. If the list is long, we are far away from spirituality. People are different. Accept them as is. When we like someone, we are happy, and we do not like someone, we are unhappy in their company. This hatred is like an acid. It will destroy the container first. Tell yourself, people are different. They are in their own path. It's like, whenever I used to drive in California and Highway 5 freeway, which is 6 lanes on this side and 6 lanes on this side. One is going in a Tesla, one is in a BMW, one is in a Camry, one is in Cutlass Sierra. You cannot compare. And one exits suddenly, and you cannot exit just because he exited. Right? So nobody can exit with you. There is absolutely no need for any comparison. Each one has got their own functionality. They are here for a reason. So the more you compare, then you see, I like this person, I don't like that person. Eliminate all those things. But he gives an example here. For example, we are traveling in a bus or a train, and there is a person who gets on with the physical illness like eczema or leprosy or something, and he comes and sits next to you. Oftentimes the reaction is repelling, disgusting, revolting. Instead of thinking in these terminologies, why not develop a sense of compassion? It is so sad that this person is going through such a hardship. Oh God, please help him. Please take care of him. How does that sound? Instead of saying, oh, disgusting, I don't want to sit next to this person. So when this all in the mind, when people say things, we get offended. It simply means that person mind is deceased. They don't intentionally hurt you. Those words are expressions of their insecurity and sickness. They need help. They may not accept that they need help. Analyze what is behind such a behavior. That is empathy. Only a sick mind hurt others. That is number one. So be equanimous. Number two is maitraha, friendliness. Others' opinion about me, all of us, may be different, but in my mind, there is no hatred towards anyone. Character is what you are. Reputation is what other people think you are. Be honest to yourself. Our mind should be free from likes and dislikes. Our life should always be beneficial to others, contributory for their happiness, for their peace. You can only give what you have. So try to maintain those qualities in you. Maitraha, friendliness. Third one is karuna, kind and compassionate. What is kindness? It is the act of trying to help someone who is in need. That's it. Don't expect appreciation for that. Compassion is the ability to feel the same amount of suffering the other person is going through and act on it. That is why support groups are very important, very helpful, because they can relate to that other person. Oh, you're going through this? Yes, I have gone through this. I can understand that. So that's important. Karuna. There was, I don't know if there was a saint in Tamil Nadu called Vallalar. He sang a song. I would shed tears on seeing the crops which are withering for water. Vadiya pairai kandabodallam vadineen in Tamil. I would shed tears on seeing the crops which are withering for want of water. That is compassion. He was connecting with everything. He was seeing everything with compassion. Nirmamaha, that is without ego and arrogance, without I. Nirahankaraha, without pride, without mind. Even though we use you and I in transaction reality, which are necessary, but constant awareness of there is only one dissolves all mind in the mind. Whatever we have is all of that supreme. We are not the owner of anything. We are bestowed with everything, but we own nothing. Only when we lose something, we know how our mind was, whether it is attachment or knowledge. Albert Einstein, as an example, in 1914, he lost his lab work worth 23 million that time, 1914, 100 years ago, in New Jersey. It was completely engulfed in flames. He calmly walked over to his son and said, it's all right, we have just got rid of all the rubbish. Although I'm 67, I'll start all over again. There was a book by Reagan Holiday about this, The Timeless Art of Turning Trials to Triumph. Edison could have wept, yelled in anger, locked himself in his house in the state of depression. But instead, he put a smile and told his son to enjoy the spectacle. Shows how he handled the ego. Whenever anything good happens, bad will also be there. Everything has got that plurality. We have to expect it. We have to accept it. Expect and accept. I remember my mother again, when I got married, she said that there will be differences. Expect the difference, accept the difference. That is the first motto she gave me. Because no two persons are the same. There will be differences, of course. So next one is number 6, Samadukka Sukha. I always bring all these things, memories come back. Equanimous in pain and pleasure. Prarabdha karma will bring unfortunate situations to all. Even jnanis go through them, they face them. They also experience physical illness. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had throat cancer. Think about it. 1886, he had it. Nowadays, we have so many treatments. Those days, no treatment. He had throat cancer. Same thing with Ramana Maharishi also. Vivekananda had rupture in his blood vessels in the brain. Chinmayananda had heart attack. Even all jnanis go through these difficulties. It's not what happens to you that affects you. It is how you respond to what happens to you that affects you, says Norman Vincent Peale, one of the motivational speakers. A realized one responds to all situations equally without being elated or in despair. Number 7, shami, patience, endurance. Also a capacity to forgive and forget. Do not carry the past with you. A jnani reaches this state and is always peaceful. Every day is a clean slate. Do not carry what happened yesterday. Somebody said this, she said this, he said this. I hear people, you said this 5 years ago when I was in the wedding. You carry things, that's the baggage. You cannot go up with a heavy backpack. Then santushtaha, number 8, contented, completely fulfilled, satisfied at all times. Humans generally complain about every little thing and aspire to get more or better things. Somebody goes to somebody's house, you get a cup of coffee. Oh, their coffee was strong, or their coffee didn't have enough sugar. Something or the other negative. Accept what is, just take it. Thank you for giving me this coffee, and then go. A jnani has control over senses, mind, and disciplined life in eating and speaking. Number 9, yatatma, self-control from being drawn to the external glamour. Mind is both friend and enemy, says, we have seen this in Gita 6.6. Those verses are very important. Number 10 is dhrida nishchayam, firm conviction, fully convinced on what the scriptures say. Setting a goal, thinking, before making a decision, thinking about it, having a plan of action, implementation, consistency, deadline is all required. And same thing with spiritual path also. Nothing is easy and everything is difficult before they become easy. We all had our first days at school, at work, in families. So you learn it as you go along. We all had our first days, months, years, in the middle school, high school, college, work, same with spirituality. With all these challenges, struggles to enter into the spiritual path, one needs a strong desire, a conviction, not only to choose this path, but to continue to stay in this path without distractions. That is a challenge. One who has these qualities is my favorite, says Krishna. Number 15, we have only 20. So a jnani is one who is not threatened by challenges of this world, nor does he threaten anyone else in this universe. He doesn't disturb anyone or anything, nor is he disturbed by anyone or anything. He is ever unaffected, undisturbed, unperturbed by the things that are happening around him. While interacting with others, he is as soft as a flower. But when others are rude to him, his mind is as solid as a rock. It does not get affected. It does not get hurt. Similarly, we should not be afraid of this world. Then number 12 is anapeksha, that is independent, non-leaning on external factors for happiness. During pandemic, everyone felt restrained. A jnani is contented wherever he is and whatever he does, or with whatever he has. He doesn't need someone to talk to share. He surrenders to prarabdha, accept life as is. He is not depressed. He is not indifferent. Accept whatever life throws at you. Number 13, suchihi, always pristine, clean in thought, word, and deed. Not just our environment, in our thought, without any negativity, not just external environment. 14, dakshaha, efficient in whatever he does. People generally comment that whenever a person does not succeed in transactional life, they come to renunciation. That is not true. In rare situation, maybe, but not generally not. Jnani chooses to renounce the temporary, unfulfilling glamour to be much more productive with the human life. Number 15, udasinaha, that means unbiased, not attached to anything. People generally talk about a third person and taking sides. But my mother again used to say, appreciate another person always in public and give constructive feedback in person, one-on-one. If somebody makes a mistake, whether it is your daughter, son-in-law, whoever, friend, when you want to correct, just let them know one-on-one. They may accept it, they may not accept it. But when you want to appreciate, do that in public. So be unbiased. Number 16, Gatau Yataha, calm in mind without agitations. Accept everything, everyone as is, no whining, no complaints. 17, a jnani doesn't expect anything in life, neither expects nor rejects, whether righteous or unrighteous happens to him. The world is continuous with plurality. It continues with plurality. Birth and death are natural part of life, but able to accept it is hard. Number 18, we have not taken human birth to restore righteousness in this world. Holocaust to Iran, to Ukraine war, to Palestinian, everything happens, keeps happening around us. We have never learned any lesson. Even though we claim ourselves to be the most intelligent species in the universe, we still repeat the same mistake again and again. From a jnani's perspective, everything is in its place as it should be. It's all divine play. Gita chapter 11. Number 19, heat and cold is for the body. Pain and pleasure is for the mind. Insult is and appreciation is for the intellect. He is equanimous in all situations. He has no friend, no enemy. When I started studying in 1996, my teacher used to say, start with that. When you are in the shower, whether it is heat or cold, don't expect it. Whatever comes, take it. That's the first step he taught me at that time. So equanimous in all situations. Then number 20 is the most important. Lastly, he is mauni, silent. He doesn't speak unnecessarily, unwantedly. No complaints, no advice. This is a measuring scale to recognize our step in spirituality. The more we talk, the more energy is dissipated, like idling a car. The tasting tongue and the speaking tongue needs to be well in control. A jnani has it both under his control. Krishna says, one who has all these qualities is my favorite. So we have all these varied proportions. We all have all these qualities, but at varied proportions. No one has 100%, no one has 0%, right? So we are all work in progress. We are in this spiritual ladder in different steps, that's all. So first one is Nirguna Bhakti without name and form. Second one is Vishwarupa Bhakti, cosmic vision. Third one is Ishta Devata Bhakti, your favorite name, form and name. Nishkamya Kamya Bhakti, next one is Atmana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. Then last one is Kamya Karma, that is enjoy everything with gratitude. With that, we complete this. I will show the PowerPoint presentation and then we can end it. Let me share the screen. So this is Vishnu Bhakti Yoga. All these are bhaktis. You can do anything. We do so many different things: yoga, meditation, prayer, puja, going to temple, everything. Then next one is 4 different types of bhakta that we talked about in 7.16. Artaha, Artarthi, Jignasu, Jnani, one who is in distress, one who is looking for enjoyment, one is seeking knowledge, and the fourth one is who has gained that knowledge. Every seeker is my devotee, Krishna says. And the 3 steps of Vedanta is Karma Yoga, Upasana, which is Dhyana Yoga, then Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. All the 3 are required. Every seeker is my devotee, Krishna says. Bhakti is Nirguna Bhakti, Bhaktan, Brahman, and Saguna Brahman, which is without a form, achalam, cannot be shaken. There's no place to shake, it's all pervasive. Dhruvam, unchanging. Aksharam, charam means depreciating. Aksharam does not depreciate, it's always there. For that, equanimous mindset is required. You have to go beyond plurality, accept both as is, unbiased, objective, with intense effort. Saguna Brahman with the name and form, those who are in attachments, they are unable to grasp Nirguna Brahman, attached to name and form, not into Vedanta, more into rituals. There's nothing wrong. Each one is in different step. Everyone is my bhakta. This is Shravanam, listening to the Guru. That is the first step. That's why those days we had Gurukula. where you will be listening to the teachers all the time. At the same time, mananam, also observing the teacher's behavior. Teaching is not just teaching, preaching. What you teach, you need to practice what is in that life. And students learned by observing the teacher's behavior on a daily basis. And then question, mananam, then nididhyasana is firmly grounded in that convinced knowledge. Nirguna Bhakti, see, when we go in the temple, we have the sense of, devotion. Whereas when we go for a walk, we don't have that. So that, and this is just a summary. Nirguna Bhakti, Vishwarupa Bhakti, Ishta Devata Bhakti, Karma Yoga Bhakti, Kamya Bhakti. See, if you go to a business place, they will have a Lakshmi's picture with a lot of coins falling down. That is Lakshmi, Kamya Bhakti. If you go to a university or a college or a school, they will have Saraswatis. In different places, you'll have Ganesha. So it depends on each one. So no one is superior or inferior. They're all my bhaktas. Again, same thing. Nirguna Bhakti, Vishwarupa Bhakti, Ishta Devata Bhakti, Nishkamya Karma Bhakti, Kamya Bhakti. So this one, Mirabai taught him, loved him as a lover, treated him as a lover. This one, Kuchela says, I am your servant. I am here at your feet. So this one is Vishwarupa Bhakti. I see one in all. This one is Kamya Bhakti. Please give me something, whatever the worldly desires I need. I need a child, or I need my daughter to get married, my son to get a job, whatever they want. It's all, so Kamya Bhakti. Nothing is wrong. Everyone is bhaktas. Everyone is devotee. So the qualities of Nirguna Bhakta is equanimous to all beings, friendly, kind and compassionate, equanimous to pain and pleasure, patience, extremely patient, always happy, unperturbed, undisturbed, contented, senses in control without I and mind, firmly grounded in Nirguna Brahman, not leaning on anything, anyone, with clean, pure in thought, word and deed, beyond plurality, finally Mauni, silent. No need to talk every time. With that, we conclude and then we can discuss. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, any thoughts? Let's see.